When you think of a rivalry between two games, one is made by Valve, an in-game economy and a very long lifespan, while the other has been deemed a clone of it with a colorful cast of characters. What do you think of? Valorant and Counter-Strike? The other one. TF2 and Overwatch? That's the one. When it comes to class-based shooters, there are no two games as prolific as Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch 2. There has been a ton of debate whether which one is better, if you count a racial slur fest as a debate. Today, I'm going to try to have a more objective comparison of the two games, judging them by the cosmetics, gameplay, theming, and other factors we will get into. A few things to get into before we start this comparison. First, I'm not a pro gamer. If you're looking for some grandmaster streamer to affirm your opinion, you're in the wrong place. I'm just some gold 1 scrub, which is still the average. Second, I have a clear bias. If you look at my time played on both games, it's clear I like one more than the other. You may also recall an older video I made, but my views have changed since then, and I'm going to try to keep my bias out of this as much as I can. Finally, a good amount of this is going to be subjective. I'm not going to change your mind whether this thing looks better than that thing, so keep this all in mind. With that out of the way, let's look at all the people you'll be playing with.
By the 9, he said the N-word.
When playing an online multiplayer game, it is inevitable that you'll have to interact with the community of the game. Now, you've probably heard the stereotypes of the two communities. Overwatch players are usually cringe or toxic, and TF2 players are just straight up racist. The truth is, however, that these stereotypes are actually kind of accurate. My experience with Overwatch involves people just being rude to each other for the slightest mistakes or hero choices that they hate. And it's not rare to hear the N-word in a TF2 lobby. However, most of the time you won't encounter that many toxic players. Sure, it's going to happen sooner or later, but the vast majority of people aren't psychopaths, believe it or not. So are both communities equal then? Well, no. If I had to grab my Overwatch lobby experiences, 90% are consisting of everyone being chill and not speaking very much, and 10% has someone that didn't get enough attention as a child. On the other hand, TF2 lobbies consist of 80% normal lobbies, 10% racism lobbies, and 10% absolutely based lobbies. Hold on, why did I say based lobbies twice in a row? These lobbies have everyone talking and some hilarious conversation is always going on, and it's fantastic. Recently, I got into a legendary lobby where everyone except for 2 losers were playing Soldier and constantly made America jokes and some guys were blasting America music. It was one of the best experiences I had with the game in recent memory. Also, TF2 content in general is better. With Overwatch, you have a bunch of guys either putting a bunch of ranked clips or news on the game, and that's it. There's very little creators that make more original stuff. And don't even get me started on unranked the GM. Who the heck thought it was a good idea to encourage smurfing? With TF2, you got a whole lot of people doing different things. You have the typical clip videos, sure, but you also have game design discussions, weapon reviews, people discussing the intricacies of the game code, social experience, and don't even get me started on the SFMs. Oh boy, the SFMs. The main highlights are Poos Engaging and Sequel, which are high-quality meme fest, and M's is Blue, which is a full-on horror movie made in an SFM. So overall, I like the TF2 community a bit better.
What I'm trying to say is, your fit is mid.
Another essential part of modern online multiplayer games is the cosmetic features, which both games have different forms of. In TF2, you can have hats and other individual cosmetic items to put on your character, while Overwatch has skins more akin to a MOBA. Your preference on the looks of these will come down to which art style you prefer, which we'll get to later, but let's look more at the overall value of the skins. In terms of monetization, I do not like either system. One is gambling and the other is overpriced. Also, I still don't like battle passes. However, what sets TF2 ahead is the fact that buying something is an immediate sunk cost. If you want to sell off all your hats and stuff, that's possible to do via the Steam Marketplace. That option isn't possible in Overwatch. Oh yeah, did I mention the Steam Marketplace? You don't just sell there, you can buy stuff too. This gives TF2 more value, as you can usually buy a decent looking set for less cost than a rare or epic skin. There's also simply more opt-in, as you can buy weapon skins. Granted, a lot of them aren't too good, but there's no shop rotation, just buy that cool skin whenever you want. Just be warned that some of the cosmetic items are rare and can get a bit pricey to say the least. However, keep in mind that almost all of this will become irrelevant upon preferences and aesthetics. Alright, I'm talking about games, so we should talk about the most important part.
War is just part of who we are.
Explaining all the differences between TF2 and Overwatch that can make one person prefer one game over the other will take an eternity, so I'll go over some more significant differences to paint a picture of whether you prefer one or the other. The first thing to note is the general class design. TF2 has only 9 classes, but are customizable with different weapons. Overwatch has over 35 classes, and that's really it. TF2's classes are mainly separated through weaponry, health, and speed, while Overwatch classes are separated through weapons, health, and abilities. TF2's 9 playstyles mostly do completely different things, while Overwatch is separated into 3 main roles, those being tank, DPS, and support, which do what you think they do. TF2's class counters are softer counters, while hard counters are essential to Overwatch design, despite how much the devs want to gaslight us. Essentially, TF2 classes are more versatile, but there's less of them, and vice versa for Overwatch. Personally, I like TF2's design a lot more, as I'm able to truly get into a character I like and not be forced out of it because the entire enemy team decided to play Hitskin after I get a single kill on Pharah. Movement is also handled drastically different in both games, down to the base movement. In TF2, the strafe acceleration is a lot slower, meaning the movement has a lot of weight to it. Dodging enemy attacks is still possible, but requires knowledge of how to draw the enemy's aim off. With Overwatch, the strafe is instant, so the input happens immediately if that's so important to you, which it does to some people. Trust me. The difference in movement techniques is much more noticeable, as one movement system requires skill. This may sound condescending, but I think properly tying a jump in rocket fire while also shooting at the correct angle is much harder than pressing shift. Overwatch's abilities come in a pre-packaged animation with very little room to do anything else, while TF2's movement techniques require full player input with a lot more versatility. One final main difference between the two games is how you kill people. TF2 is pure gunplay and the occasional melee encounter, while Overwatch is a mix of shooting people and using cooldowns. TF2 is a pure FPS experience, while Overwatch has a bit of crazy utility thrown in. With this, Overwatch's general skill set is more centered around using cooldowns properly and team coordinating, while Team Fortress 2 is focused around plain old gunfights. If you could suck some of the dumb stuff the cooldowns will bring, then congrats, you'll probably have a grand old time with Overwatch. If not, well, it's going to be more of an on and off experience. There's more stuff I want to cover, but let's keep the intricacies for a full review. Oh yeah, one more thing.
Maps.
TF2's maps are generally more interesting and more fun to play on. With TF2, a lot more varied terrain and flanks, and also a lot more incentive to go around the map due to the sheer amount of health and ammo packs lacing the landscapes. With Overwatch, I hope you like lanes. However, this isn't entirely the map designer's fault. Overwatch's gameplay incentivizes grouping up, so you can't really make too many flanks. You have a guaranteed 2 healers. Why split for health when you can just politely ask, which is a code phrase for spam the alert medic button. This sure won't get annoying. Another thing is that Overwatch has a lot of free mobility, meaning power positions aren't as valuable. Therefore, most high grounds are catwalks or other similar ledges with only one way to get up there. One final thing to note is that the map design is loaded because Jeff Kaplan specifically wanted the game to be more about the heroes than anything else. As in, the main model for the map design was that it's all about the heroes. This leads us all to a fundamental divide between the two games. The main fundamental divide between the two games is that TF2 is a team game built around the individual experience, while Overwatch is built to maximize the team experience. This is no accident either. The developers of both games have been very open at this design philosophy. With Overwatch, the new management have tried to shift it away, but you can never truly steer Overwatch away from its roots with a complete rework. And no, 5v5 is not a complete rework. TF2's classing was made so anyone could have a role that they would be good at, while Overwatch's classing was designed so that anyone could be beaten as long as you picked the right hero. Almost every TF2 class benefits only themselves, while many Overwatch characters have utilities for the whole team. TF2's map design facilitates people going off by themselves. Overwatch makes sure everyone sticks together. Everyone gets ulted in Overwatch if enough time passes. TF2's chargeable mirrors only fill up when you manage to keep fighting and surviving. The list goes on, but the point is that the two games have very different approaches to teamwork. Personally, I like playing by myself, but if you have a stack to play with, you're probably going to have a better time playing Overwatch. To close this comparison, let's look at a striking part of both games.
Now there's a pretty meme.
Both TF2 and Overwatch have unique art styles, which really make them stand out from other FPS games. Overwatch has a cleaner, futuristic art style which has a higher fidelity, while TF2 has a more cartoonish art style that's reminiscent of the 60s. TF2's art style also has one inherent advantage that it's more practical in gameplay, as the red and blue teams stick out among the desert and industrial backgrounds. Overwatch, on the other hand, has always had a major issue with visual clarity. Like, seriously, what am I even looking at? Characters in general tone are also handled differently. Overwatch has a massive cast of characters, all having some backstory that's well explored, with the tone being more serious. TF2, on the other hand, has very few fleshed out characters, and the story doesn't really focus on the backstory that much, but rather the ongoing plot. That is until... Valve, please, it's been like 6 years since released the final comic. And you already know TF2's tone. Incredibly goofy from the dialogue to the plot points. That's not to say Overwatch has its more light-hearted modes, or TF2 is devoid of more somber scenes. It's just to say, by and large, TF2 doesn't take itself as seriously. This attitude towards their story and feeling also bleeds into the community. TF2 servers are generally more social, while Overwatch constantly markets itself as competitive. Hence why one game you can find people all playing the same class, and the other you will be called an autist over choosing a certain class. Source, it happened to me. I mean, it's accurate though. All of this is up to personal preference, but in general, I like TF2 more. And that just about sums it up. These two games may seem very similar on the surface, but when you really dig deeper, you can find much more fundamental divides between the two. There's valid reasons for liking either, and good reason to dislike the other game. I say there's nothing particularly wrong with liking either. Wait a second, I forgot one section. The PvE. Oh, I forgot. Blizzard cut the main selling point of Overwatch 2 on top of all the other terrible things they did. Now the answer becomes clear that we should all be playing TF2. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think. If you defended the lack of content by saying that the PvE will make up for it, turn in your man card. I'm talking to you, your Overwatch. Get out of here. And goodbye to everyone else.